हाँ स्टार्ट करें.
Respected Chief Physician, ACHDs, all my esteemed seniors, there's no junior I think, I wish you all a very good morning. I'm here to talk on a topic which is a burning problem in India, corneal blindness and its management. Let us first see some of the very hard facts. Around 37 billion people across the world are blind. Of them, 15 million are from India alone. And worse still, 80% of this blindness is avoidable. Vision 2020, Right to Sight, was a global initiative by the World Health Organization and International Agency for Prevention of Blindness, worldwide participation of the non-government organizations and several famous ophthalmological centers to eliminate this avoidable blindness. Let us see some of the corneal statistics. Corneal disease is one of the most common causes of blindness in India. Of the 15 million which we saw in India who are blind, 3.5 million are due to corneal disease and 26% of them are children. Every year we have more than 30,000 new burden of the disease, but only 10,000 corneal transplants are being done yearly because of the acute shortage of donated eyes. The causes of corneal blindness are multifactorial. The infectious causes include microbial keratitis, trachoma, respected mention.
Yes.
The causes of corneal blindness are multifactorial. They include infectious diseases, which are due to microbial keratitis, trachoma, which used to be a very common problem even 5 years back, onchocerciasis, not a very important problem in India but endemic in some sub-Saharan African countries. Leprosy is still common in India. Because of denervation of the cornea, there is chances of microtrauma and even sterile and infectious melts. And ophthalmic neonatal, if it is infected by gonococcus, can be blinding bilaterally. Next is the nutrition cause. Vitamin A deficiency still remains a very important cause of bilateral corneal blindness in children under 2 years of age. Inflammatory causes are there, Woodin's ulcer, Stevens-Johnson syndrome, certain inherited conditions like corneal dystrophies, and congenital anomalies like Peters anomaly, Hurler syndrome, degenerative conditions like keratoconus. Here the cornea becomes thin and ectatic, and there can be acute head drops and blinding, which can be bilateral as well. Traumas, especially with penetrating injuries, chemical injuries and corneal abrasions, if not properly treated and watched, can predispose to microbial keratitis and cause blindness. And last but not the least is the iatrogenic cause, which we ophthalmologists are responsible, causing aphakic and pseudophakic bullous keratopathy. First we come to the causes which can be prevented. The first and the most important being xerophthalmia caused by vitamin A deficiency. This still accounts for more than half the new cases of childhood blindness every year in India. There is corneal dryness, conjunctival xerosis, Bitot spots, and there can be keratomalacia or sterile and infective melts. And you can note that you can see this picture. You can see this child having bilateral corneal opacities, and the right eye is almost an end-stage adrenostaphyloma with severe dry eyes, which is due to this vitamin A deficiency. There is atrophy of the glands which secrete the tears. Vitamin A supplementation, nutritional advice regarding the intake of green leafy vegetables and colored fruits and sources like meat and egg can go in a long way in preventing vitamin A deficiency. And of course, measles vaccination is also essential. Trachoma is the next most important. It used to be a very common problem 5 years back, but it is endemic in northwestern parts of the country still. It is not acute trachoma which is blinding, but recurrent infection with chlamydia trachomatis can cause lid abnormalities like entropion, misdirected lashes, and the corneal surface becomes opacified, causing trachomatis spannus and trachomatous keratopathy, and this is very difficult to treat because they are very poor candidates for keratoplasty. However, it can be adequately prevented by the safe strategy which is being used, which is surgery for the lid abnormalities, antibiotic for the infection, 1 gram of azithromycin single dose with topical erythromycin or tetracyclines, facial cleanliness, and environmental improvement. Another disease not much common in India but still very common and endemic in sub-Saharan Africa is onchocerciasis, which is caused by the microfilaria of a nematode on Onchocerca volvulus. The cornea becomes affected because of the inflammatory reaction to this. The Simulium fly is its vector. Control programs for mass ivermectin distribution and control of the simian fly can go a long way in combating this disease. Traumatic corneal abrasions, this is a risk factor for microbial keratitis. You can see this patient has a large corneal epithelial defect caused by trauma. The bluish colored area is the epithelial defect zone, which has been stained by fluorescein. These patients need to be carefully monitored with the prophylactic antibiotics and till the entire epithelium gets healed, otherwise they can predispose to microbial keratitis and cause potentially blinding infections. Coming to the definitive management of corneal scar is keratoplasty, and silver lining is that 40% of the bilateral corneal blindness is treatable by keratoplasty. The success of keratoplasty depends on the several factors. Most important is the pathology for which the keratoplasty is being done. If the eye is dry, there is ocular surface problem, the lids are abnormal, and there is an opacity which is encroaching the limbus. If there is deep vascularization, these are poor candidates for the success of keratoplasty. Another important simple surgery which can be done is a sectoral iridectomy, optical iridectomy, which used to be very common previously but not done. However, it can be done in desperate cases which have a poor prognosis for keratoplasty. Basically, it is removing a sector of the iris where the cornea is relatively clear so as to allow some amount of light to pass through into the posterior segment of the eye. This is a optical iridectomy. You can note that the iris has been removed in one sector to allow some light. Some amount of ambulatory vision can be given to these patients. And last but not the least is the new keratoprosthesis which are coming up, which are being hailed as the artificial cornea for desperate cases who have the severely damaged cornea, and keratoplasty is just not possible in them. We'll come to details of each of them. Coming to corneal transplantation, the various types of corneal transplantation which are being done is the penetrating keratoplasty, which we all know of, where the entire full thickness of the cornea is implanted, is taken from a donor and transplanted onto the host. Now, lamellar keratoplasty is another option where a part of the cornea is taken and transplanted. There are two newer surgeries which are coming up and becoming very popular are deep anterior lamellar keratoplasty or DALK. Here the entire 90% of the corneal stroma is removed, leaving only the endothelium and the descendants, and similar amount of tissue from a host donor is taken and transplanted. We'll come to details of each of them. And endothelial keratoplasty, where we only remove the descendants, faulty descendants and the endothelium. Coming to the indications of corneal transplantation, most important is optical. We are doing it for vision. Second is tectonic. This can be. This is when to maintain an anatomical structure integrity of the eye in case of perforated corneal ulcers, stromal thinning, and desmatocele. Third indication is a therapeutic, where there is a corneal infection which is unresponsive to treatment. We can remove the infected cornea and transplant a donor. And last is the corneal cosmetic, which is not done in India because of its acute shortage of eyes. Coming to penetrating keratoplasty, here, as we all said, the entire full thickness of the cornea is transplanted. We use a device called a Trophine, which is a circular cutting device, having various sizes from 6 mm to 12 mm. The amount of donor tissue, the size of the donor tissue to be removed is predetermined, and this Trophine is used to cut the donor cornea, and a similar Trophine can be used to cut the recipient cornea, and then the donor is sewn over the recipient with sutures. These are interrupted sutures. You can use continuous sutures as well. It depends upon the surgeon's choice. Lamellar keratoplasty, as we all said, as I have already discussed, it is only we remove only the diseased part of the cornea, leaving the healthy part intact. It can be done for anterior corneal stromal opacities in heel keratitis. Advantage is that the tectonic integrity increases and the chance of infection and rejection are reduced. But disadvantages are there. It's a very technical, challenging surgeries because the level of dissection has to be judged, and it also has to be very smooth. And this host graft interface can have a haze and fibrosis and reduce the chances of vision. This is a very well done lamellar keratoplasty. You can see the first foray pictures a slit lamp photograph of a patient with keratoconus. You can note the thinning and the ectasia in the central part. Lamellar keratoplasty was done, and you can see that the ectasia is gone and there's a nice graft host interface as well. The optical clarity is very good. GLK, this is a very new surgery which is coming up and gaining very much importance because of the excellent surgical results that it gives. We remove the entire stroma of the cornea, which is 90% thickness of the cornea, leaving only the endothelium and the descendants. It can be done for any corneal opacities where the endothelium and the descendants is not at fault. It's a very technically difficult surgery because dissection to such level without rupturing the descendants is a difficult task. We do not go very much details into the surgical steps. I just have got a picture and rough description. It is done mainly by big bubble technique where air is used to dissect the stroma out. Here you can see in the first picture a 25 gauge needle is used to bend needle cannula is used to inject air into the stroma, and slowly the dissection is being carried out with a crescent. There is still some amount of stroma in these 3 and 4 figures because it is hazy, and the last dissection is being carried out by viscoelastic. And then this finally 8 is a picture where you can only see the descendants and the endothelium, which is crystal clear. Over this a donor lenticule is put and sewed. Next important new surgery which is coming up is the endothelial keratoplasty. It basically involves removal of the diseased endothelium and replacement with descendants and endothelium. It can be done for any cases where the endothelium is at fault. For example, corneal endothelial dystrophies, pseudophakic bullous keratopathy, Fuchs corneal dystrophy. Out of the several endothelial keratoplasty, the DSEK, decimal stripping automated endothelial keratoplasty, has become most common. It is automated because here an automated microkeratome called a Moria keratome, here you can see the picture, is used to cut the donor cornea. We can prefix the thickness of the donor cornea that we want, and with the automated keratome we can get such thickness of cornea. They give excellent results because the surface is very smooth. Not going much into the details of DSEK. I have a picture here. First, the recipient bed is prepared by introducing a reverse Sinskey hook into the anterior chamber of the recipient. It looks like a hockey stick, and an 8 mm diameter of decimets is delineated and it is stripped from the inner surface of the cornea, and it is brought out. A similar donor lenticule is introduced into the anterior chamber, and it is kept in place by air. The final picture is like this. You can note that the anterior chamber is filled with air and the donor lenticule is nicely in place. There are 2 sutures put to close the wound. Coming to keratoprosthesis, these are used for severely damaged cornea where there is no hope of any keratoplasty. These are being hailed as the artificial corneas. There are several keratoplasties which are being used, of them like Boston keratoprosthesis, osteodontokeratoprosthesis, corkscrew, Alcor keratoprosthesis. Of these, Boston keratoprosthesis and OOKP have become the most commonly used. Boston keratoprosthesis is used for patients with severe corneal opacities. It was discovered by a famous cornea specialist, Dolman. Basically, it involves an optical cylinder which is of polymethyl methacrylate. It has a front part and a back plate which is made of titanium and a lock. This thing is entire thing is drilled into a graft, corneal graft, and this corneal graft is transplanted like any penetrating keratoplasty, and final picture is like this. The central part of this cornea is clear and optically allows light to pass, and some amount of central vision can be given to these blind patients. Next is the osteodontokeratoprosthesis. It is also called a tooth in eye surgery. Very new technique. Here it is for very severely damaged corneal surfaces, like in Stevens-Johnson syndrome, oculopemphigoid, where no grafts can survive because of a very dry and harsh ocular surface. In these, in OKP, first the buccal mucosa of the patient is taken and it is transplanted onto the surface of the cornea. Then the tooth of the patient is taken. It could be a canine or a premolar, together with its ligament and surrounding blood vessels and bone also. And this optical cylinder, the green part you can see, this is drilled into the body of the tooth. And this tooth is made to grow in the cheek of the patient for a few months so as to achieve vascularity. And after a few months, this entire assembly is taken out from the cheek and then implanted onto the surface of the cornea. And the central area, being the optical cylinder, is clear and allows some vision. This is not important, but still I wanted to include this. The fact is that cornea is probably the very few organs of the body which can be transplanted onto the another person even 6 hours after the death of that person. So if this is the total, if the blue column is the total number of deaths that we have annually, which are actually the potential total number of corneas that we can get, and the red column you can see is the total number of needed donations. The green small bar is actual donations that we get. It is only around 0.8% of the corneal blind actually get the corneal grafts every year. There is a huge scarcity. The reasons being ignorance, inhibitions, people don't remember during the time of shock, they don't know whom to contact, and probably infrastructure and good eye banking. First, I think the most important thing is that every awareness that we can donate this gift of sight to someone else. We can approach the nearest eye bank. There are helplines 24 hours in many of the eye banks, and if they are informed, they can go and collect the eyes. The proper collection within 6 hours and evaluation and finally grafting. I think cornea is one of the organs which we can donate and make ourselves immortal. Thank you.